Hi, Megan. Just taking a look at your poster here. It's looking good. I really like the gradient that you've added. I just wanted to give you a little bit of design feedback. It's not just you that I'm doing this with. I'm doing this with other students this year. I've just been kind of stepping up my game, or at least trying to, with just more feedback on design. Because I know when I was a student, I always wanted more feedback on how to make something better or look more professional in some ways, and I never really got that from my professors. So I'm just kind of trying to offer up the opportunity to give you a little feedback. And what I say is not always correct. This is all kind of a matter of opinion and those kinds of things. So, anyway, moving on. As graphic designers, we have to be able to take feedback too. So it's good practice in that too. So I think it looks good. I love the gradient that you added. I like the border a lot. It's really bold. I think it matches the imagery pretty well too, and the fonts that you're using. And I like how you made best from what you had to work with. But I think maybe just a slightly more space, especially in between the S and the T, because if you see here in the last, it has a lot more space. So like just bumping it over a little bit would have been good. Adding a little bit more space in here, maybe a little bit in here too, just to kind of add a little more space in between those letters that you made out of best. They look great. They're just a little close together, not a huge deal. And then also this text here, I think maybe just bumping it down from the top a little bit and just letting it breathe a little bit more would be good. And I almost wonder, this is not a big deal, but I wonder if this was all in one line. You'd have to go substantially smaller with it to get it all to fit on one line. Let's see. But it might actually look a little bit cleaner by the end of it, really. So it's something to experiment with. Maybe even, if I can get on this layer here, maybe even making this smaller too. It would get quite a bit smaller. But it still would be around 20 points, which is still pretty large. That would make for a lot of black space, but that would also potentially give you, and this could actually be bigger, maybe. This is all just, not necessarily making it look better, but it might, doing this. I just need to make this wider here. We'll see what it looks like once we kind of make a few alterations here. So maybe something really simple, and then you might have a little bit of room too for potentially adding in the logos here. And they're in here. I know they are. This might have needed to be brought into, like if we do a control click on this, edit with Photoshop, bring in the AI file in there at 300 dpi, and then do a Command I. No, that didn't work. Let's make it a grayscale image first. So image mode, grayscale, and then do a Command I. Yep, and then select inverse, or select color range. Let's do a select color range. We're going to grab that black, and then we'll just delete it, and then do a Command D, and then just save that out. Do a file save as, maybe white. Put it back in here in your links. Save it as a Photoshop file so we can save the transparent background. And then we can relink, gosh darn it, this properties panel is in the way. And then we can relink this with the white version by clicking on the relink button, going into links, finding that white PSD, And then also, I'm not quite sure what effect was brought on this. But we could maybe bring it up in so that we can actually see it, you know. I'm not quite sure what happened with that and why they're not showing up. So it might just be easier to start over. Same thing goes for this. I mean, just control click, edit with, Photoshop, push OK, make sure it's at 300 when you bring it in. Mode, grayscale, Command I, and then, you know, save as, make it MAT logo white. Save it in the links folder as a Photoshop document, and then bring that in. And then we can see what this is going to look like. File, place, to bring them in. Actually, I have something selected, so I'm going to deselect by clicking off File, Place, and then let's go into that links folder, find those two white logos, push Shift to get both at the same time, and then just click those in. This one looks a little grayscale, like we might have to do levels on it, but so I'll use the free transform tool, push Shift, bring that down in size, find spot there for it. Not saying that this is going to look good, but at least we're meeting the requirements of, actually I think the only requirement was to use the MSU Northern logo, so I mean, we don't necessarily, we could just have like the horizontal logo with the text off, like just right here instead of both of these, but I can see that you kind of were thinking about using both of these. So, and then if we use the properties panel, we can arrange this, send backward, arrange, send backward, arrange, send backward. Okay, that's not working. I'll just bring this to the front. Oops. Bring these to the front as well. I'm using the shortcut commands on the keyboard, which are Command Shift, right space bracket, I believe. I'm not quite sure what it's called, but there, maybe something like that. I mean, I'm not saying that that looks a ton better, but at least there's some room for the logos. And I do think no matter what, you know, adding space here and adding a little bit more space here at the top would help the design. And, you know, if you wanted to incorporate these logos, you know, this might be a decent solution. One thing you could do is also just get rid of the MAT and then just bring in the MSU Northern horizontal logo, which I think I have in my documents. Sorry, I'm taking forever showing you how to do this, but I used to have some in here. There we go. Okay, and then use this to make it bigger. You know, you could just do this to something like that. But anyway, just some suggestions if you wanted to add in the logo, because that was part of the requirement and I didn't see it in there. I did see that you had the files in there, but just not the actual piece. So that might be a way that you could work around that to create more space. Just bring down your text a little bit, give it a little bit more room on the top. And one thing that would help is just to add a little bit more space in between the letters and best. Okay, we'll talk to you later. Sorry that was so long. Bye.